You know that specific sound your phone makes on Friday morning? It might be a ping, a buzz, or just a silent notification that slides down from the top of the screen, but your brain recognizes it instantly. It's the direct deposit notification. For about 15 seconds, you feel like the king of the world. You open your banking app, you see a number that actually has a comma in it, and for a brief, shining moment, you feel rich, or at least you feel safe. You take a deep breath and think, okay, I'm good. I can handle this. But then something strange happens. It's almost like a chemical reaction in the brain. That feeling of safety starts to morph into something else. It turns into permission. You see that balance and your brain immediately starts doing this fuzzy, optimistic math. You think about that pair of sneakers you've been stalking online for 3 weeks. You think about how you deserve a nice dinner out because, honestly, it's been a long week and the idea of cooking the groceries you just bought sounds like a form of torture. You start mentally spending the money before the digital ink is even dry. And this is where most of us get stuck. It's not that we aren't making money, it's that we are living in a cycle of financial amnesia. We get paid, we feel good, we spend loosely for a few days, then the bills hit, and suddenly we're back to checking our balance with one eye closed, hoping we have enough to make it to the next notification. It feels like you're trying to fill a bathtub with the drain open. You're pouring water in, working hard to carry those buckets, but the level never actually rises. My name is Tom, and I want to walk you through a different way to look at that Friday morning notification. We aren't going to talk about becoming a millionaire overnight or buying crypto or flipping houses. We're going to talk about the quiet, invisible system that separates people who build wealth from people who just pay bills. It's not about how much you make. It's about what you do in the first 24 hours after that money hits your account. Because the truth is, if you don't give every single dollar a job the moment it arrives, it will find a way to leave. Money is like a rebellious teenager. If you don't give it strict instructions, it's going to sneak out the window and do something stupid. The first thing we have to understand is that the standard way of handling a paycheck is completely backward. Most of us operate on what I call the leftover method. We pay our landlord or the mortgage company because we like having a roof. We pay the electric company because we like light. Then we buy food, we pay for Netflix and Spotify, and that gym membership we swear we're going to use next week. We buy a few rounds of drinks, maybe some clothes. And then, at the very end of the month, we look at the dusting of change left in the account and say, okay, I'll save this. But usually this is zero or negative. The people who stop stressing about money flip this equation on its head. They don't save what is left after spending. They spend what is left after saving. It sounds like a bumper sticker, I know, but the psychology of it is profound. When you prioritize yourself, your future self, before you pay Amazon or the local taco spot, you change the game. You are essentially telling your money that you are the most important bill you have to pay. So let's break down what this actually looks like in real life, without the spreadsheets and the guilt trips. Step one is simply defining your survival number. This is the boring, unsexy foundation. You need to know with absolute precision what it costs to keep you alive and employable. I'm talking about rent, groceries, and I mean real groceries, not the artisanal cheese you bought on impulse, utilities and basic transportation. Here is where it gets tricky though. We are experts at lying to ourselves about what a necessity is. It is genuinely impressive how quickly the human brain can convince itself that high-speed internet with the premium sports package is a basic human right, or that ordering delivery is a necessity because we are saving time. I've done it. We've all done it. But if your necessities are taking up 80% of your paycheck, you don't have a spending problem. You have a structural problem. You are house poor or car poor or lifestyle poor. Ideally, you want your true survival cost to be around 50 or 60% of what you take home. If you can get it lower, great. If it's higher, you're going to feel that tightness in your chest every month, no matter how much you try to budget. Seeing that number clearly is the first step to fixing it. It's like turning on the lights in a basement. It might be messy down there, but at least you aren't tripping over stuff in the dark anymore. Once you know what you actually need to survive, the next step in this routine is dealing with the past. And by the past, I mean debt. Specifically, the kind of debt that keeps you awake at night. Credit cards, personal loans, The stuff with interest rates that make you want to cry. Before you go out and buy a new TV, you have to look at your credit card bill. Think of your credit score not as a number, but as your reputation in the financial world. It's like a report card that follows you around forever. If you have debt, you have to make the minimum payments immediately. Do not wait. Do not pass go. Set it up so it happens the day you get paid. A missed payment is like stepping on a rake. It hurts immediately, and the bruise lasts a long time. Even if you can't pay it all off, keeping that on-time percentage high is crucial. It's the difference between getting a decent rate on a car loan someday or getting laughed out of the bank. But here is where we need to pause and talk about the thing that actually helps you sleep at night. It's not the debt payoff and it's not the investing. It's the buffer, the emergency fund. I know, calling it an emergency fund makes it sound like something your grandmother would keep in a jar under the sink. But let's call it what it really is, a sleep well at night fund. Life has a nasty habit of throwing bricks at your head right when you think things are going smoothly. Your car's transmission will decide to explode on a Tuesday. Your dog will eat a sock and need surgery. Your laptop will just stop turning on the day before a big project is due. If you don't have cash sitting there waiting for these moments, you have to put them on a credit card. And then you're back in the trap, paying interest on a transmission for the next 3 years. When that paycheck hits, before you buy anything fun, you slide some money into a boring, high-yield savings account. It shouldn't be invested in the stock market, where it could crash right when you need it. It shouldn't be in your checking account, where you might accidentally spend it on concert tickets. It needs to sit there, separate and safe. It's not there to make you rich. It's there to keep you from becoming poor when bad luck strikes. If you're sitting there thinking, Tom, I live paycheck to paycheck. I can't save 3 months of expenses. I hear you. It feels impossible. But you don't start with 3 months. You start with $500, then 1,000, just enough to cover a blown tire or a surprise medical copay. The psychological shift that happens when you know you have $1,000 sitting in the bank is incredible. You walk differently. You don't panic when the check engine light comes on. You just handle it. So we've covered the defense. We've covered keeping the lights on, keeping the creditors happy, and building a wall around your life so chaos can't get in. But you can't win a game just by playing defense. Eventually, you have to score some points. You have to make your money actually do something other than just sit there or disappear. This brings us to the part of the routine that actually builds wealth. It's the part most people overthink, get intimidated by, and eventually ignore because they think they need to be a Wall Street genius to understand it. But the truth is, the most powerful wealth-building tool available to the average person is boring, slow, and requires zero brain power once you set it up. I'm talking about the employer match. If you have a job that offers a 401k or a similar retirement plan, and they offer to match your contributions, this is literally the only free lunch in the entire financial universe. Think about it. If you walk down the street and someone said, hey, if you give me $1, I'll give you $1. You would stand there giving them dollar bills until your hands fell off. That is what an employer match is. It is an instant, guaranteed 100% return on your investment. If you aren't taking that match, you are essentially working for less money than your coworker who is taking it. You're leaving part of your salary on the table. So when that paycheck routine kicks in, checking your contribution percentage is key. You don't see this money in your bank account, and that is the beauty of it. If you never see it, you can't spend it on takeout. It goes straight to your future self. And speaking of your future self, I want you to visualize that version of you. Maybe they're 65 years old. They're tired of working. They want to sit on a porch somewhere and drink iced tea. Every dollar you invest now is a gift to that person. And because of the way compound interest works, $1 you send them today is worth way more than $1 you send them 10 years from now. It's like planting a tree. The best time to do it was 20 years ago, but the second best time is right now. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're looking at your student loans or that car payment, and you're wondering, should I really be investing when I owe money? This is the classic debate. The math nerds will tell you to pay off the highest interest rate debt first because that's mathematically optimal. It's called the avalanche method, and they aren't wrong. But we aren't robots. We are emotional creatures who like winning. That's why I've always had a soft spot for the snowball method. You line up your debts from smallest to largest, and you attack the little one with everything you've got. You ignore the interest rate for a minute. You just want to kill that $300 medical bill. When you pay it off, you get a rush of dopamine. You feel like a champion. Then you take that money and attack the next one. It's about momentum. If paying off the small debt keeps you in the game, then that is the right strategy for you. The best financial plan is the one you can actually stick to on a Tuesday night when you're exhausted and just want to order pizza. We still have to talk about the secret weapon that ties all of this together, the thing that removes your own willpower from the equation so you can't mess it up. But I want to pause here for a second. We've covered a lot of ground regarding the what and the why. We were talking about willpower. And here is the brutal truth about willpower. It is a finite resource. It's like the battery on your phone. You wake up on Monday morning fully charged, ready to be a financial disciplined machine. By Thursday evening, after your boss has yelled at you, you've sat in traffic for an hour, and you're just done with everything. Your willpower battery is at 1%. If you rely on your own decision-making skills in that moment, you are going to lose. You will not transfer that money to your savings account. You will order the expensive takeout. You will convince yourself that you'll make it up next month. This is why automation isn't just a tip. It is the entire ballgame. The people who win with money don't have more self-control than you. They just don't give themselves the option to fail. Here is the exact setup I use, and honestly, it's so simple it feels like cheating. I call it the day after rule. If you get paid on the first, all your automatic transfers should happen on the second. You give the money 24 hours to land, settle, and get comfortable. Then before you even wake up the next morning, the robots come in and move it. You set up a transfer to your high-yield savings for that emergency fund. You set up a transfer to your investment account. You set up the auto pay for your bills. By the time you log into your bank app to check your balance, the responsible money is already gone. It has left the building. What remains in your checking account is yours. It is safe to spend. You don't have to do mental math in the checkout line at the grocery store. You don't have to feel guilty about buying a latte because the money for your future has already been sent to your future. And speaking of that latte, we need to have a serious conversation about fun money. There is a lot of advice out there that tells you the reason you're broke is because of your morning coffee or your avocado toast. And honestly, that advice is kind of nonsense. You aren't broke because you bought a $5 coffee. You're broke because your housing costs are too high or you bought a truck you can't afford. But the problem with the save every penny mindset is that it makes life miserable. If your financial plan feels like a punishment, you won't stick to it. It's like a crash diet. You can eat nothing but kale and ice cubes for a week, but eventually you're going to snap and eat an entire pizza in a parking lot. You have to budget for fun. You have to budget for the things that make you feel like a human being. Maybe for you, that's a video game subscription. Maybe it's going out for drinks with friends on Friday. Maybe it's buying high-quality ingredients to cook a nice meal. In this payday routine, after the necessities are paid, after the debt minimums are handled, and after the savings are automated, you need to carve out a specific amount of money that you are allowed to blow on absolutely anything. I call this the guilt-free zone. When you spend this money, you shouldn't feel a single pang of regret. Why? Because the bills are paid. The savings are done. You took care of business first. If you want to spend $50 on a candle that smells like a campfire, go for it. You earned it. This little pressure release valve is what keeps you on the path for the long haul. It stops you from feeling deprived, which stops you from binge spending later. Now, once you have this machine running, income comes in, expenses go out, savings happen automatically, fun money is spent. You are going to hit a moment where you get a raise. Or maybe you pay off that car loan and suddenly have an extra $400 a month. This is the most dangerous moment in your financial life. It's called lifestyle creep. It's the silent killer of wealth. You make more money, so you move to a slightly nicer apartment. You buy a slightly nicer car. You start buying the organic berries instead of the regular ones. And suddenly, even though you're making $10,000 more a year, your bank account balance looks exactly the same as it did before. You're running faster on the treadmill, but you aren't moving forward. The routine we built has to be adjustable. When you get a raise, the very first thing you should do is increase your automated savings transfer. If you get a 5% raise, increase your savings by 3 or 4%. You can keep a little bit for fun, Celebrate your success, obviously, but don't let your expenses expand to fill every inch of your new income. The goal is to widen the gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap is your wealth. That gap is your freedom. The wider that gap gets, the sooner you stop having to work because you have to and start working only if you want to. As you get more advanced with this, you can start looking at different buckets for your investments. We talked about the employer match, which is bucket number one. But once that's maxed out, you might look at a Roth IRA. Love the Roth IRA because it's a deal you make with the government. You say, okay, I will pay taxes on this money right now, today. And the government says, cool, in exchange, when you pull this money out in 30 years, we won't touch a penny of it. No taxes on the growth, no tax on the withdrawal. If that account grows to $1 million, that is $1 million in your pocket, free and clear. It's a powerful tool, and fitting a contribution into your payday routine, even if it's just 50 bucks, can change your future dramatically. But let's zoom out for a second. I know we've talked about percentages and accounts and automation. It can feel like a lot of moving parts. But remember how we started? We started with those 15 seconds. That moment the notification hits your phone. The difference between the person who is stressed about money every single day and the person who is building wealth usually isn't their IQ. It isn't even their salary. I know people making 50 grand a year who sleep like babies because they have a system. And I know people making $250,000 a year who are drowning in debt and panic because they have chaos. The difference is simply that one person has a plan for the money before it arrives, and the other person is reacting to the money after it arrives. This routine, check necessities, cover debt, build the safety net, capture the match, automate the rest, and enjoy what's left, is about taking back control. It's about stopping the money from controlling your emotions. Imagine the next time you get paid. The notification slides down your screen. But instead of that rush of, oh, cool, I can buy stuff, followed by the panic of, wait, do I have enough for rent? You feel nothing. You feel calm. You know the robots are going to wake up tomorrow morning and move the money exactly where it needs to go. You know your future self is getting paid. You know your bills are covered. You can close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just go on with your day. That boring, quiet confidence, that is what real wealth feels like. It doesn't happen overnight. You might mess up a month here and there. You might have to raid the emergency fund because life happens. That's okay. The point is to get back on the routine. Start with the next paycheck, just one. Give every dollar a job. See how it feels. If you found this helpful, or if you have a specific payday ritual that works for you, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear how you handle those first 24 hours. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to keep getting calmer and smarter about your money. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.